Hi, and welcome to Air Relaxin' and Racing. We are talking about Blue Ridge Ironman 70.3, the inaugural edition. And we're going to go ahead and rate this race. So, why don't we start with check-in?
So this is going to be a much shorter video than we normally do for this. We're on a time crunch. We got to get on a plane, and we got to get this done. So we'll tell some stories along the way, but it's not going to be the super long video like you're used to. But check in. I mean, they did the dynamic numbers. We got super low numbers. They gave out the same dry bag, the same. I mean, they gave us a T-shirt, which is a nice T-shirt, but it doesn't have anything on the back, which kind of stinks. If you watched our video from Austria, you'll know that the race was sponsored by a grocery store, and they gave us a ton of groceries. Well, let's talk about this race.
This time,
it was sponsored by Kroger. Probably one of the largest grocery chains, might be the largest grocery chain in the U.S.
Yes.
What do we get? A spatula. Thank you, Kroger.
Really appreciate that, Kroger. Good looking out. Way to sponsor the race. This will likely melt in your dishwasher, so it's not gonna make it home.
Have done anything cheaper. I mean, that thing's awful. Yeah. So I mean, as far as the swag, it's typical Ironman swag. We've gotten a ton of these dry bags now. But I can't really complain about that. I mean, just because we're doing a bunch of races doesn't mean everybody else is doing a bunch of races.
And dry bags are very cool. But dry bags without race names on them are not very cool.
I mean, it was just a standard red and black with the Ironman. The hat we got was the standard white Ironman hat with the Ironman on it. I mean, the only thing we got that had a name on it was the T-shirt. Well, the medal. And the medal was pretty cool. It's colored, and I think I got it in here somewhere.
I love that Ironman includes a hat. We really appreciate it. I don't mean to dog on, a plain hat because it's better than no hat that other races give. So that part's cool.
This is the medal. It's a nice medal. It has color on it. Shows the Blue Ridge Parkway. Shows the mountains, and this is see-through or whatever. So it's actually a pretty cool medal as far as medals go.
Yeah, that is interesting. But part of the cool thing is we were running today, and you can see, hey, this is Augusta from 2016. Oh, I have that hat, and it sparks a conversation. These are just the white plain hats, so it's just missing that. I get it, COVID, but we're kind of on the back side of that. These hats should be ordered for the races. Chattanooga was able to print on their bag. Yeah. It doesn't have to have a race year. So
just put the name on it.
But yeah, give me the location.
I mean, better than Challenge. Challenge didn't give out hats
doesn't have a hat, right? So they lose. That's what I want to say. And local races, but of course you're paying for it all.
All right, so
out of 7 bananas, you got
I'm giving it a 5.5. I mean, I'd like to have the name of the race on the bag and the hat, but I do like their dynamic numbers. It was super easy. We went in there early and got low numbers. Very well organized.
This race was canceled last year, so I don't know how to. I don't know whether I would have complained with a 2020 finisher hat. But I think I would rather have that than the plain nothing.
So what do you give it?
So I'm going to give it a 6 banana. You got to take a little off for that because I know it can be done because Chattanooga did it. So these things are coming in time now. 6 bananas.
All right, so let's move on to transition. So we're going to include all the transitions in this. We'll do T1 and T2. How did you think about that? What did you think about that?
This was a long bus ride all the way up to T1. And so that kind of, it's different. And that's not something I've done in a long time. Changing T1 and different T1 and T2s have been done before, and this one was done as good as I've ever seen. Plenty of buses, especially given the long travel times. They were filling up the bus before we left, but everybody was there super early. They were very clear, get there super early. I'm going to give the transitions a solid 7. Given what they did, they couldn't do any better.
I don't know, man. So for me, the T1, there were 7 bikes per rack as opposed to 6, so you kind of crowded in there. I'll take off a little bit for that. It didn't seem. I mean, when there was a super long line for the bike pumps, and then there was a super long line for the porta potties. But if you just timed that right, then you didn't have that. So I don't know. I'll take off a little bit for the 7 bikes. I'll do a 6 on that 6 on track. I don't think they could have done it any different. I mean, it's disappointing that spectators couldn't be there. But all right, 6 for
All right, so tell me about the swim.
So the swim was actually pretty cool in that we were the very first people to ever be allowed to swim in this reservoir. It's like the city of Roanoke's drinking water reservoir. They do allow paddleboards and kayakers and stuff like that, but nobody's allowed to swim in there. So as far as designated swims, if you fall off your paddleboard, of course you go swim. But that was pretty cool that we got to swim it the first time. Single loop. I love the single loop lake swims as opposed to double loop.
Absolutely.
They fixed the Chattanooga problem where you jump in and you get timed in right there. The exit was easy to get out of. You ran up and went through the swim exit and right into transition. And that was all matted or whatever. Last week we had to crawl over a bunch of rocks or whatever to get up. So, I mean, I'm going to give the swim a solid 6.5. I mean, it's not my favorite swim because I like the river swims, and it's disappointing that spectators can't see you. But 6.5 for me.
Yeah, and that's a fair concession or point that all of the buses come up there, and so they couldn't have spectators on the swim. Not that the spectators got to sleep in, so there's an upside with this race. But you have that one section where you swim in the sun. There's not much they can do about that. Maybe changing the angle so that you're swimming in that hypotenuse shorter would help. This is their very first time they're doing this race, so you got to give them a little bit with that. The same thing I did. It was plenty spread out. There's not too many turns. I really can't complain about much. I'm with you on the 6.5. It was a really good swim, given it's a lake swim. I'm taking a little bit off for the sun in my eyes, but that was great.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the bike. This one, the bike has the epic climb.
Brutal
it's
climb.
a brutal course. But what do you think about the course itself?
I've got to judge it for what it is. If I were judging it based on a bike course, I'd give it like a 3 because I hated it. It was just awful. I wanted to quit at like mile 50. I was just done. I was just beaten. And so it made for a tough run because my legs were shot. I was just beat up. But you knew this coming into the race. So that's not really the race's fault that you signed up for this. When we signed up, sorry. Yeah, we knew it coming into the race, but we did sign up for the race.
It was the only race we could get. And
doing this challenge is, you gotta work with what we got.
Yeah.
The climb, they have shut down the parkway. They had, it was really interesting. I kind of weaved up and down as I'm going up to give me something, just give me a break. And so shutting down the parkway was huge. There was one ambulance that passed me. I don't know if you saw him or not. And then of course the motorcycles were the only traffic on that road. They did a fantastic job with that. The roads were actually really good. The way out, there were those bumps every like 20 feet, but they weren't much more than an annoyance. But that was mile, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10, somewhere in there.
Yeah, it was a boom.
Yeah, and so you could get around them, but you had to go pretty far left to get it. I'm going to give this bike a 6, given it's nasty. But the town did a really great job, and if you're looking for something really difficult, then it's a really good one. But I hate it.
So I'm going to give it a 6 too, but mainly it's a great bike. I had fun on this bike. Last week I had a horrible time on the bike. but still gave it a 7 because it was a great course. This one I'm gonna give a 6. I had a great time. I was able to get super speed. It didn't rain on me. The things that they could change about it are there were some potholes and some unmarked like manhole covers and stuff, and like the last 10 miles or so, they should mark those. I mean, that's like I hit one and I was like, I might come off my bike. I was getting some nutrition and I hit it, and so I mean, just put some tape around it, or for a bunch of them they'd spray painted orange.
Just every so once in a while they wouldn't hit it. There was that one bridge. I don't remember where that joker was, but you saw the bottles.
Oh yeah. People hit a bump and stuff came off.
There was only one site on the whole thing that hadn't been. They did a fantastic job. We crossed 2 sets of railroad tracks. They had it taped down. They had used the brown tape. So Ironman is clearly listening to us and watching these videos. That is not satirical at all. They absolutely care. But yeah, they did a great job with the railroad tracks this time. There was no problem. You had that one bridge, and if you're driving the course, you may not have noticed it, but you could see all the bottles. So I'm sure they'll take care of it for the next time. Just some cold patch, just a little ramp to get up would have solved that.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, it's a great bike. It's brutal. It's tough. They lie about that. I guess maybe that's part of my 6 too. Is they lie about how far you're going up. They say it's a 4-mile climb, and it's not. It's a 5-mile climb.
It's like a 30-mile climb.
And then you have a little break, and then you have another 2-mile climb. So I mean, really, overall, the big climb is 9 miles as opposed to the 4 that they're telling you.
Yeah.
So for that, I mean, just be honest about it. Say, hey, man. At mile 4, you do go over a little flat part, but that lasts like a quarter mile, man, and then you're going back uphill. You're thinking, everybody's thinking that they're finished with it, and they're not.
Not even close.
So anyway, moving on to the run.
It's just not a great. It's not a great run. I don't know what they can do to improve it. You're on the greenway, and so. I think you just need more on the streets because a lot of, as much as they could, they were keeping the 2 directions separate, but basically it's an out and back and then an out and back, and then a double loop of that.
Yes.
And so it's pretty. You're running along the river. It was brutally hot today, and there's some shade. It's so much better than Panama City in that respect. But you're pretty close together. There's not a lot of room, and I don't love that during those sections. If they could have reduced those sections a little bit, it would have been nice. So maybe some tooling on that. I'm going to give that like a 5 banana, maybe even like a 3.5, 4.5. It's just not a fun run for me.
I mean, it was hot. There's nothing we could do about that. I mean, the race can't do anything. That's not the race's fault. But the design of the course is kind of. I mean, I'll give it a 5.5. They can do better on the design of the course. Plenty of space for people to get spectators to see stuff.
Great
plenty of time
race.
for people to see. If you're a spectator, to see your people. But it was crowded. It was too crowded.
Yeah.
And it's a 2-loop course, so if you're a slow runner or a fast runner, it doesn't matter. It's too crowded because you're going to catch up with or get bogged down in all of that. So they got to come up with a better run course.
Okay, so give me your overall on this race.
So it's the city of Roanoke, man, they really like to have us here.
Sorry, we should add that in. Give me a location banana count.
Yeah, man, 7. Because they wanted us here. I mean, not everybody wants the Ironman races here, but every one of these people wanted their Ironman race. There were
people, they're stopped in traffic waiting on bikes, and they're out of their cars cheering. I've never had that. So some of this is new Ironman smell because they haven't had one before. And so, Panama City, where they have 2 races a year for the last forever. All of the locals are just whatever. So, but these people were fantastic, and I'm absolutely with you. This was a 7. Airport's great, plenty of lodging. Absolutely a 7. This destination is fantastic.
So overall for the race, I'm gonna give it a. I don't know, man. I guess I got to get like a 5 3/4. I don't feel like I can give it a 6. I don't really want to give it 5.5, so I'll do 5 3/4.
Man, I'm 5. I don't. You know,
You're
it's
just
not a
mad
race. I'm
because
not
it was
going
a
to do it
tough
again.
race.
It was a hard race.
Yeah.
And so if you're, that's fair. I'm definitely deducting for some of that. It is all of the heat. Plus all of the hills. So if you're looking for a challenge, this is a great one for you.
If you ever think you want to do 2 races in one weekend, this is not the race to do. You find 2 other races because you can't do 2 races in a weekend doing this race.
You will be exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking some off because it was difficult, but not like a fun difficult. Austria was a fun difficult.
Yeah.
This was just nasty.
It was disappointing. You didn't get the views on the Blue Ridge Parkway. I mean, it was shaded, so that was nice.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, you have an overlook.
Yeah,
so
and then once
see.
you got to the top, you were looking down, and the views are fantastic.
But you don't have those same. I mean, you're riding the ridge, and you don't have the views the entire time.
Attention, and you're tired. By the time I got up there, I'm tired and I'm cranky. So,
yeah. But it is. I mean, I wouldn't discourage anyone from doing this race. It's a really good race.
yeah, they did a great job with it.
Don't do it at your first race.
No.
But if you got some experience and you like tough bikes, then this is a good race for
this is your race. So if you want to see what you're made of, this is a great one for it. There's probably some pretty good opportunities for spots if you'll prepare for this. Getting into Worlds, this is probably going to be a good race for that because
if you're good on the bike,
it's tough.
You have to be good on the bike to be able to get that.
Fair enough.
So our plane's fixing to board. We need to sign off, but appreciate you watching.
Thanks so much.